Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another beautiful day on the NerdCraft SMP. I am Maximan, your favorite cyborg pirate, and I am here with another great episode for you today. In today's episode, we are going to do some work on some projects because we are running out of time. This season is coming to an end soon because 1.18 is coming soon. So we've got a lot of work and we've got to get it done. Remember, the NerdCraft SMP is fundraising right now for a new dedicated server computer. Everybody that donates will get their name on our spawn building for everyone to see when the world download becomes available. As well as that, we are offering some visitors passes to the server that you guys will be able to cash in and come and play with us. The link is in the description for our GoFundMe if you want to donate and earn yourself some time hanging out with the nerds. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and click that bell so that you don't miss any future videos. All right, let's get some work done, everybody. All right, so I am standing here outside my iron farm building and I'm just trying to plan something out here because when I made this, I had this idea for this curvy structure here that would be thicker than that. This is just the plan for the curve, but it would be a brick sort of support structure, and I kind of had an idea for one of those on all four sides to just kind of add a little bit of depth to it. And then after I make these, then I think I can start working on the doors and windows. So this is just the initial planning stages, but now I think it's time to start building in the form of a time lapse. I had to take some time to get this design nailed down because what I did in the time lapse I wasn't really quite happy with, but now as it stands after doing a little bit of redesigning, I think I'm happy with the final result. Lankington, one of the fellow nerds that plays on this server, he helped me a little bit with the design and gave me some pointers on what would look good, and I think the final result is looking pretty good. So if we take off here, we can have a look, and yeah, it's very big. It's a lot bigger than I originally imagined, but I do like how it turned out. It's a cool little support structure. And now all that's left, now that I've got the design figured out, is to build one on every side. And this one just so happened to be almost like right in line with where I wanted the door, so I figured I would incorporate the door for this side into that one. And maybe I might even do that for all the sides, except for the front obviously is not going to need a door. But yeah, so that's the design of that. Now I'll be back after I've built 3 more. Well, it's been most of the day later, and I am finally done these things. The reason why it took so long is because after I did the redesign, I noticed that some of the copper blocks were starting to age. And all over there, I know that all of my copper was all waxed, and I didn't do it with this. And then I was thinking, like, why don't I use some of the aged blocks? So this I'm actually going to allow to weather all the way, no matter how long it takes, which also led to a complete redesign of this area up here using warped planks and soul lanterns. So once the copper turns all green, it should all match in with that and give this part of the castle more of an aged kind of a look. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. It's got all these cool support structures here, and they wrap all around to all the different ones. They kind of don't match in with these things, and that's just on account of how I built the building around the iron farm. It's not centered, but they are centered with the building itself. So if I fly out, you'll see that it's the towers that aren't centered, not the support structures. But I think once all that copper ages up, it's gonna look pretty cool. Maybe at the end of the video, I'll do a little copper aging time lapse, just if you want to watch that. But for now, I think this section of the building is done for today. Obviously, I still have to do windows and make the doorways look a bit better. As I said, I kind of incorporated this structure into the doorway itself here, and I kind of started working on the same thing here. Needs some more landscaping and terraforming out there. And then this one, I ended up sealing up the entryway because it moved over, and I just haven't dug it out yet. So I'll be doing that probably in the next episode. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how these structures turned out, and it's great that they add a little bit of texture and they make the build a little bit more three-dimensional as opposed to just a flat wall all the way around. And then also, once I start getting windows put in and stuff like that, they're gonna have texture of their own, so that should make it look a little bit better. And yeah, once this copper ages, it's gonna look great. We already got one down there. That's the next stage, I think. Is that fully oxidized, or no, that's mostly oxidized. So yeah, it's not gonna take that long. All right, the next thing that I want to get done is in my storage area. I have been planning on making that into like a nice lush cave, and right now it's just bricks and bare stone. So I am going to go in there and start working on greenification. All right, so I will see you there. Okay, so I'm here in my storage room again, and I have, as you can see, cleared out the brick floor because we're getting rid of that. It's going to be all grass and moss and maybe a little bit of stone. We'll figure it out as we go. Maybe like a little cobblestone path maybe going around. I don't know, that might look nice. But essentially we want to make this look as green and alive as possible. I still have the glowstone kicking around everywhere because that's going to be the lighting source. But of course I can just cover that all up with moss and throw in some more to make it look a little bit more random and less grid-like. And then that will be the lighting. It'll be all hidden from view. So I think for this session, what I'm going to do is just do the floor. So I'm going to do some moss and grass and get this all looking nice. And then the next session, maybe I'll do the walls leading upwards. And then at the top, we're not going to go all the way up, but maybe like to the bottom of the mob farm, we'll make a cave roof that goes up there. And then, you know, maybe some vines hanging down and stuff like that. Make it look a little bit more alive and green. So let's do this in the form of another time lapse. Hello, this is Maximan from the future. And as you can see, there was no time lapse where I said there would be a time lapse. That's because I tried to use replay mod later on to record a long time lapse of the copper oxidizing while I slept. And replay mod did not like having to do an 8-hour recording, and it crashed. And because it crashed, it not only didn't save the copper oxidizing replay, but it also didn't save the replay that I did of this, which I should have saved before I started the 8-hour one. But I guess that's how we learn our lessons, right? So now I know replay mod cannot handle an 8-hour time lapse. But anyways, on account of that, instead, I'll just cut to the next clip where I talk about finishing this. Well, I think that's all I'm gonna do for a start, because one thing that I've noticed in here is that the Endermen are absolutely out of control. That's because when I made this mob farm, because of the design, how it goes down one layer each time, it essentially made it so that it's impossible to make it so that Endermen can't spawn in there. So what's happening is Endermen are spawning and then the water's turning on and there's buttons all up above, so I don't think they can teleport there. So they end up just teleporting down here and just wrecking everything. They're right now all holding mushrooms or something that I've placed, so we've got to put a stop to that. The Enderman Scourge. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some traps around. I'm going to get some ender pearls and get some endermites and have them in the corners so that the endermen, they'll see the endermites from wherever they are, hopefully from wherever they are. They'll get mad and they will attempt to kill the endermites, but when they get to them, there's going to be a pit of fiery doom awaiting them. So yeah, I think that's going to be it. Either that, or maybe since I'm really close to bedrock layer right now, I could just do some blasting and break some bedrock and have the traps so that when the endermen go over them, they just go falling straight into the void. I think I've got enough TNT to make that work, so maybe that's a better idea, because then if they go into the void, they're not going to be teleporting. If they go into lava, they'll just teleport again, but if they go into the void, they're gone for good. So maybe that's what I'll be doing. I'll have to work on that design though and actually plan it out so that it works the way that I want it to. So that's going to take some doing, but I'll probably have it up and running by my next episode. But as far as episodes go, that is going to be all for this one. As always, thank you very much for watching this episode. I always appreciate that. And also don't forget to check out the link in the description so you can support our new dedicated server that we're trying to get here on this NerdCraft SMP, on the NerdCraft SMP. And also like the video, subscribe, and it looks like I'm gonna die. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell. Have a great week, guys, and we will see you in the next episode. I was going to try and have a replay mod time lapse here of the copper slowly oxidizing, but again, because replay mod crashed, unfortunately all you get to see is the finished product, which I think looks really good. So let's have a fly around and you can have a look at what it looks like in the end. Some of the copper still hasn't oxidized, but it's slowly happening and I think it matches in really well. So even though you don't get to enjoy it in the form of a time lapse, you can see the finished product here and it looks pretty great. Big thanks to Lankington, one of our new nerds, because he was the one that suggested that I let the copper oxidize, and then that gave me the idea to redesign the rest of it. So all in all, I'm thinking that it looks pretty great. All right, goodbye for real now.